If you remember, like a couple months back, people were running the term empathy through a wood chipper, and it's something I actually care about. And I was wondering how to best approach the topic for the last 6 months, and then I decided I'm gonna look at some of these "Am I the Devil" posts to see if I can't maybe teach people what real empathy is supposed to be. Post I'm going to be looking at is a cross post from r/prolife by Sonic Rat 20. It's titled "How to Show Empathy as a Pro-Lifer to Someone Who Feels They Were Harmed by Pro-Life." 20 years ago, one of my closest relatives experienced a pregnancy that even many pro-life people believe is an edge case, an exception. Pregnant at 12 following an essay by an adult, my extended family was very devout and pro-life, so an abortion was refused. The pregnancy ended in a stillbirth. So, right from Jump Street, one of the things you gotta know going into this is like, if you didn't experience this, and even if you did experience this, there is no way you can understand this person's position because you have not lived that experience. And that is like a founding tenet of empathy. You cannot truly be within the head of someone, you cannot truly understand what they have gone through. You can do your best to empathize by hearing the feelings, but you can't just be like, yeah, I totally get it. Same thing happened to me. Even if the same thing happened to you, you ain't gonna experience it the same way as the next person. Might be similar, but it's not gonna be the same. The post continues. She had a lot of complications from pregnancy that led to several surgeries and procedures as a teenager to try to fix things. But she ended up with fertility issues. In the time she's been married, she's had several more surgeries and other procedures and 4 miscarriages. Just like advocating for your friend here, this sounds like a lot of personal information you're giving out. And even though you're not like naming them or giving us their address or anything, I could see them being a little miffed about you sharing all this. This is like, is this not violating HIPAA? I'd be a little offended. And I'm pretty sure your friend would be offended too. So I don't know, like step one, maybe consider if this is even something you should be putting on the internet. Continuing with the post, all this to say that she still has constant mental and physical struggles. In all honesty, she's probably struggling more psychologically now than she was then. In the last few years, she'd made comments that she should have been allowed to have an abortion and was forced to birth that, and then it's redacted, but I'm going to assume it's something not nice. All ending with how it all ruined her life. So right here we have like an expression of emotions. They're telling you what they're feeling. This is your opportunity to empathize with them. So in this situation, they're saying like, yeah, I'm feeling tumultuous. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling vindictive. I'm feeling remorseful. They are telling you everything they are feeling, and I don't know how this post is going to evolve, but I'm going to assume at some point you kind of just missed the mark. But I'll read on. She's my cousin, more like a sister, really. I'm only 2 years older than her. Watching her struggles over our entire lives has been the greatest shelf breaker I've had to face. I know I had doubts, my whole family has. Minds have changed over this. It all breaks my heart. I'm often the first one sitting with her in the hospital when another emergency happens. Well, so far, I'd like to say that's pretty kind of you. It's nice that you consider her that close to you. And I don't know if you ever told her that. Maybe you should communicate to her that, hey, I feel real close to you and I'd like to be able to understand what you're going through better. So could you tell me more? Could you help contextualize it for me? Because I can't truly understand, but I could do my best to empathize. It's always harder to empathize when you don't already have like a rapport with somebody, but if you already got a rapport with somebody, you should be able to, kind of get up in that head meat and, dig around a bit, find the feelings, find something to attach to, find something that you can understand so you can better contextualize what they're going through to yourself. The post continues, I don't know what to do when she talks like this. Ultimately, I believe abortion is never morally justifiable. I know why I believe it. I want to be there for her and be on her side. I just don't know how to do that without claiming or making her think anyway that I do actually believe an abortion should have happened and she is the victim of her first child. But anything I can think to say to respond sounds cold and lecturing. She doesn't need that, and it's not helpful. Does anyone else here have any ideas? I kind of spoiled myself a little bit and looked at the comments because, again, this is a cross post from r/prolife. And, yeah, a lot of the people here are also improperly using the concept of empathy as like a manipulation tactic. And that's not what empathy is for. It's not to like win people over to your side. It's to understand people. It's to reach a concourse, not to do whatever this is that they're talking about. Like, oh, you just gotta not have it be a debate and try to turn it into, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. If you want my personal take just on the original post before I get into some of these weirdo comments, honestly, if you truly want to empathize with this person, you're going to have to set aside your own beliefs temporarily to get in their headspace. What does it feel like to have your innocence stolen? What does it feel like to have your family tell you that you have to have this baby? And the good news is she done already told you all of that stuff. She told you that she feels like it ruined her life. She feels like everything's messed up for her. Now that she wants a kid, she might not be able to have one because whatever botched procedure happened. And all of that is crushing. It's terrifying. It's anxiety inducing. This person is living in a constant state of stress because of something that happened to them forever ago that was never properly dealt with. Now, to put a little bit of empathy on you, I empathize with the fact that you don't want them to have these ideas that, like, it's okay to have an abortion. I get that you don't want them to feel this way because they're your friend and you got your own strong beliefs and you don't want them to be morally wrong. But at the end of the day, you can't control what they do. You don't have the ability to control other people. You're not going to win someone over, especially somebody with this much baggage attached to the issue, with words or facts or figures or the Bible or anything that you're going to as a source. And that's important. That's part of who you are. That's how you feel. And I can't take away from the fact that you feel a certain way. Figuring out why you feel those ways, figuring out why it's important to you, those are the things that are going to help you understand how you feel. How they feel is very clear, and the best you could do is simple empathy. Just mirror back what they're saying. They're saying, hey, I feel like my life was ruined by this event. You say, yeah, I bet you're feeling pretty hopeless because this happened to you. It's not the best response, but it's an honest one. That's what they're feeling. They're feeling hopeless because of this thing that happened to them. They're feeling like things are never going to be the same because of this thing that happened to them. Maybe they even feel a little bit of a rift with you because maybe you guys have had a debate. Maybe there's a little bit of resentment buried in there. And the only way you're going to get rid of that is by asking if it's there. And also by letting go of your own resentment for them making their own choices. You can believe that it's a moral failing, but their moral failings are not yours to take control of. And I'm not saying that what they're doing is a moral failing. I'm just saying if you view it as one, you cannot take responsibility for the character and moral failings of others. The best you could do is be a good friend and just try to hear them out. And if that's not something that you can do, then you're not a person who should be trying to empathize with them. You should just put it as a conversation and say, hey, I know that when you bring this up, you're requesting that I engage in a conversation with you about abortion, and I'm not willing to have that conversation. And I'd hope that you respect me enough to not bring it up. If this is a conversation you can't have with them, then it's perfectly acceptable for you to say, look, I cannot have this conversation with you. I'm not going to have it. A big part of empathy is being able to empathize with yourself and knowing your own personal limits. And being able to put up your own request of like, hey, I don't want to cross that bridge with you because, honestly, I don't think we're going to agree on it. I feel strongly about it. You feel strongly about it. We always end up arguing. And I feel sad when we argue, so I don't want to do that. So do you mind if we don't talk about this? And that can go for any conversation that you don't want to have. As long as it's like good faith. You can't really use it as like a cop-out. Be all like, nah, I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about how I didn't do the dishes like I said I would because, it makes me sad that I didn't do the dishes. Like, that's not a good way to use that. You can just say like, hey, I know I messed up. Can you not yell at me about it? Sometimes I'm kind of lazy and I'm working on it. But, if you get on my back about it, I'm going to get up in my head and it's not going to get done again. That's how you kind of empathize with yourself. And once you can empathize with yourself, you can empathize with other people. And in this case, if you really want to empathize with this person, you really love this person, you should accept their views, not as gospel, but as what they believe. And understand that that's part of who they are. You're not going to change that. I know you want to. I know you think you're doing the right thing. You feel righteous in what you're doing. And you have every right to feel that way. But that doesn't mean everyone else feels that way. Your feelings are your own. And those are for you to deal with. And for the people who are willing to deal with those feelings with you. So I see this comment right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this off. In cases like these, there's little you could say. If you have to, state that you believe in your disagreement with what she says, but do it briefly. Don't try to debate her. If she wants to vent, let her. In time, it might exhaust her resentment. Who knows? Okay, already off to a terrible start because you're talking about trying to exhaust their resentment. You're trying to mentally beat them down. That ain't empathy. That's not what empathy is. That's manipulation. That's a debate. That's like I don't know what that is. That's some American Psycho stuff right out the gate. I'm just expressing that made me feel kind of gross, the thing that you said there, because it sounds more like you're trying to manipulate and not empathize. This is not good advice for empathizing. Otherwise, I think it'd be better to let your actions speak. Just keep being there for her, and do so for the same reasons you are pro-life. That is, because you care about other human beings and their lives. Gentle conviction can break down a lot of walls, and patient love can heal a lot of wounds. If you have faith and hope, there might come a time when she'll be more receptive. This part of the comment's a little bit better. Like, this one was a little bit better because, yeah, you could do a lot with gentle love, but I don't feel like you're using it in the sense that, like, hey, I'm going to just be here for you no matter what, even though our views are different. It feels more like you're trying to, like, erode a mountain with, like, vinegar. But I also know that you were acting from a point of view of feeling a certain way about all this. You feel that it's important that other people embrace the pro-life movement because to you, that is an important thing. That is what you feel as a strong conviction inside yourself. And you are talking from the point of view of wanting to express that feeling. And I'm telling you that I hear you and I understand what you're saying, that you want other people to be on your side. You feel that it's necessary. But I don't think that you're going about it in the right way, champ. The comment finishes up with, or not, but even then, she's already done more for this cause than most of us, albeit involuntarily. In that light, it might be fine to focus on helping her manage the consequences of what we demand of her, rather than worrying about your own integrity or persuading her to change her views. See, it's that last part there that kind of tells me that there ain't no empathy here, because you're saying what we demand of her. You don't want to empathize with this person, you just want them on your side. You even say so, saying that she did more involuntarily by having those early surgeries. I think that's what you're referencing. You're saying like, oh, well look, she messed herself up. She's getting everything she deserves. Look, God's punishing her. And maybe that's how you feel. And that's fine. You could feel that way. I don't agree with it. I'm not going to meet the request to agree with this because I don't think she's trying to further your agenda in any way, shape, or form. I think she's just trying to have a kid later in her life with somebody she cares about. But I get that this is how you feel, and this is how you decided to express your viewpoint. Personally, I don't feel like it's empathy, but I thank you for sharing. I think that it's an important thing that you shared this, and I think it's an important thing that you feel comfortable expressing these views where you express these views. I don't think this deserved to be cross-posted to r/AmITheDevil. These people aren't devils. These are people who believe in something, and believing in something is important to a lot of people. And trying to take that away from them by being like, look at them, they're the devil, that ain't right. That ain't right. This comment by Jay Camden is a lot better. Just be real. Acknowledge their pain, regardless of what you feel about the legal or ethical principles of abortions. They did feel pain. They were hurt. Whatever policy you want to support, you have to be willing to acknowledge the pain it will cause. If you can't do that sincerely and empathetically, then you are not a good advocate. This right here, 100%. If you can't acknowledge the pain that this person is going through, if you can't empathize with this person, then don't. You're not going to be able to do it. It's not something that everyone has to be able to do. Empathy isn't some super skill, it's kind of an innate thing that everyone develops eventually. And whether or not you hone that into something you could use in real life, or use it to try to win people over with your soaring rhetoric, that's on you. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing like trying to win a debate, trying to win them over, trying to erode them with time. Nah, it's just, yeah, I can't engage with you on this, and I'm sorry. Wish I could, but I can't. And I'm not going to engage with it no more because I feel that we're at an impasse on this. I hope we can still be friends, but yeah, I don't want to engage with this part of your life because you're not going to agree with me on this. And sometimes that's the best you can do with people. I understand that people feel very strongly about this. I can't truly understand everything they feel, but I know that they feel very strongly about this on both sides. About when it's okay, when it's not okay, is it ever okay? And there's many reasons why people get those feelings. And I'm not here to tell you which side is right or wrong. I'm just here to tell you that you should think about the things that you say to others when you try to empathize with them. If you really want to empathize with someone, ask yourself, why would someone feel so strongly about women not having a right to choose whether or not to abort? Well, some people feel that life begins at conception, and they feel that way, and it makes them angry when people don't agree, and when people can legally perform an abortion and just be like, yeah, it's whatever. It wasn't a real life. That makes those people angry. That gives them something to lash out at. And their lashing out is the only way they know to deal with those emotions. And you can engage with that. You can say, hey, yeah, I see that you're angry, and I know that my actions have upset you, but do you at least respect that I have a right to do what I want, at least under the law currently? And some people ain't going to be able to agree with you on that. Some people are just going to be like, no, I don't think you should have that right. And that's where you have to disagree, and that's as far as it has to go. You got to fight them in court, that's a different thing. But as far as like understanding other people's feelings, yeah, they told you what they feel. They feel like you did a murder, and they're angry that you're not in jail for it. And that might not feel great for you. That might feel like you're being attacked, and you have every right to feel that way. But they have every right to feel their feelings. And looking at it from like a purely Christian viewpoint on the other end, where like it's never acceptable, but you have to empathize with somebody who thinks it is acceptable, that can also be super difficult. You got to come to terms with the fact that God gave people free will, and they have a right to feel like they can do this. They have the right to do this thing. And as far as the law is concerned, in some places, they absolutely have the right to do that. And in this situation, it's even more complicated because it involves a very unfortunate conception. I'm not here to ascend the political compass until I have the power over life and death, but I am here to hear what people feel, and that includes everybody. I don't agree with what everyone feels, and not everything that someone feels is something that I can engage with, but I can at least take it into my heart and say, I understand where you're coming from, and I hear what you feel. And that's the least any of us can do. You don't have to agree with everyone, but you have to open up your ears and just say, I hear that you're angry, and I'm not willing to engage with it. It's just that simple. Sorry to prattle on so much at the end here, but I think it's important that people learn to look inwards and feel their own feelings, why they feel a certain way, why they have these emotions, and communicate those feelings better. If someone wrongs you, you say, I feel upset because you said or you did X, Y, and Z. If you can approach every situation by saying, I am frustrated, I am angry, I am elated, and then insert Y, the specific thing, the specific example, you will have clearer communication and an easier time empathizing with people. So at the end of the day, I hope you all learned to empathize with yourself. Be nice to others, and be nice to yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Broken Head Meat, signing off.